My name is Victor, and for a long stretch, it was 4 grown women and me under one roof. My wife, Amber, plus her 3 sisters. For a while, there wasn't a complaint out of my mouth. I carried every financial line item without asking for much, beyond basic respect, and a little help where it counted. But when the numbers tightened and the margin vanished, I had to say something out loud. I told them plainly that expenses had to come down if I was expected to keep paying the mortgage by myself. I figured we'd sit like adults and map a plan. Instead, that evening, I came home to a front door my key didn't open, and my belongings boxed and piled outside like I was a tenant who'd missed too many months. That one moment rewired everything. What followed was a turn they never saw coming. Thinking back to the first days with Amber still makes me smile. We met in the most ordinary way, and from that day, it just worked. We dated almost 2 years. By the time I proposed, we'd become best friends in the way you can't fake no performance, no forcing anything. When she said yes, there was no hesitation in her eyes, just a hug that felt like a promise landing. The wedding wasn't a spectacle. We didn't have the budget, and we didn't need it. Just a small ceremony in a quiet outdoor spot Amber loved. She kept telling anyone who asked, "This is the beginning of everything I've ever wanted." Even then, I knew reality would show up quickly. Before the wedding, I lived in a tight 1-bedroom. It wasn't the space to build a family, no room for the basics, no openness for the future in our heads. Amber never complained, but I knew her dream was to raise kids in a warm, stable, open home. That settled into me and set something in motion. Long before we even circled a wedding date, I started putting money aside without fanfare. The goal was simple: a proper family house. I didn't tell her right away. I wanted the surprise to land right. Eventually, I found a place in a neighborhood she'd once mentioned, and it felt like putting a flag down in the life we were building. A few years into marriage, we had our share of ups and downs, like any pair does, but we were all right. Then, one evening, a single phone call broke the shape of our life in half. Amber's parents had been in a car accident. They didn't make it. I still hear the sound she made when I told her. I held her for hours as grief shook through her body. And in the weeks that followed, I watched her become a shadow, moving through rooms that used to hold light. She was the firstborn with 3 younger sisters. After the funeral, it was clear they didn't have anyone steady to land with. There were relatives in another state, but no one close, no one who felt safe. Amber wasn't going to let them scatter. She wanted them with us, wanted to be their anchor, their big sister, their guardian, their everything. So we opened our door. No one forced it on me. I agreed without blinking. "If this is what you need," I told her, "we'll figure it out since it's temporary." I knew it wouldn't be easy, but marriage means you stand when storms blow in. They moved in, and our quiet 2-person life got louder and heavier overnight. By then I was working longer hours. The bills swelled, groceries vanished faster, laundry multiplied by 3. I kept my mouth shut. Back then, both of us were employed. Amber held a decent office job, and for the first 3 years we made it work. I covered more than half, truth be told, quite a bit more, but we were still walking in the same direction. Then Amber came home one night and announced she'd quit. Just like that. When I asked why, she said her pay was insulting, and she couldn't take the jealousy and insecurity of a female boss another day. Look, workplaces can be hell. I've had my share of toxic managers. But the way she dropped it landed wrong. No plan, no job search underway, no talk of savings or strategy. She just wanted out. I didn't argue, maybe I should have. I didn't want to be the husband forcing his wife to stay in a job she hated. "All right," I said, "if that's your call, I'll manage." I didn't know then how deep the cut would go. Because here's the thing, her sisters, 3 adults under our roof, still weren't working. Not one of them had a job. They woke up late, lived on TV, and endless scrolling, ordered takeout, and somehow always had fresh nails and new outfits. Meanwhile, I dragged myself through long days to keep a house upright. I paid all utilities, covered every bill, Watched my bank app drain while a living room full of able-bodied adults acted like they owed the place nothing. It's not like they offered. Not once did one of them say, "Victor, we see this as heavy. Let me pick up groceries this week. Let me get a job. Let me cover something." Nothing. They occupied the house like birthright. What made me feel the most alone was Amber's silence. She didn't defend me or press her sisters to help. She just blended into their rhythm. It wore me down slow. I kept it to myself because I didn't believe talking would change anything. 2 years I carried it. I don't know how I made it that far without snapping. I was the only person earning, and the quiet started to live in my chest like a stone. Some nights I lay awake, asking how long I could hold a house on my back. When cards maxed, I tapped savings. When savings ran dry, I kept pushing, telling myself the next paycheck would buy me a little oxygen. Relief never came. The longer I stayed silent, the more it felt normal to them. One morning, after rehearsing calm words a dozen times, I called a meeting. I love my wife. I married her, knowing family mattered to her, and I had no issue with her sister staying for a while. But it had been years since her parents passed, and no one had left or contributed a cent. So I said what needed saying. "This can't continue. We need to cut back, or I stop paying for everything." I wanted to talk about responsibility and pulling together, not an attack, not a threat. The second the words landed, the room shifted. Amber's face tightened. Her sisters went wide-eyed, and then the flood hit. I was called controlling, embarrassing, cold. One asked if I expected them to scrub floors for rent. Amber jumped in, acting like I'd humiliated her in front of her blood, as if asking adults to help pay in the home they live in was betrayal. She said I'd shamed them, made them feel unwanted, like burdens. The irony was a joke. They weren't burdens when they were draining me. But asked for accountability, and suddenly, I was the villain. I tried to explain this wasn't eviction. It was about survival, partnership, fairness. No one wanted to hear it. Every sentence bounced back as a new accusation. It was like arguing with a wall throwing bricks. I stopped, stood up, went to the bedroom, packed quietly, and left for work. I figured a day apart would cool heads, and they'd realize I wasn't the enemy. What happened next showed me exactly where I stood in that house. A month passed after that hard conversation. Nothing changed. Amber spent like bills were ideas, not invoices. Her sisters stayed jobless, adding more to the grocery list than our budget could bear. No one even acknowledged what I'd said. It was like they collectively decided I didn't matter as long as money hit the account. I was getting angry at them and at myself for financing my own disrespect. Then the company sent me out of town for 2 days for a deal I had to attend. Before I packed, I opened my banking app to transfer the allowance I usually left in the joint account when I traveled. I hovered over the button like muscle memory. This time, I didn't tap it. I closed the app. It was a boundary quiet, clear. I'm not funding this anymore. 2 days later, I flew back, worn out on hotel coffee and conference rooms, wanting a hot bath and my own bed. Around 8 p.m., I pulled into the drive. My key didn't turn the front door. Tired brain, maybe. I tried again. Nothing. Side door, same. Lights were on. Someone was home. I knocked. No answer. Harder. Still nothing. I called Amber. No pickup. I called again and again. 10 times. I remember the number because patience leaked out of me with each ring. On the 10th, she answered. "Open the door," I said. Her voice was flat. "We changed the locks. Your things are outside. You should reflect on your actions." I stood there with my bag in my hand and looked around. There they were, a couple of suitcases, a box of shoes, my shaving kit tossed on top. No big speech came out of me, just a silence so deep I could feel my pulse in it. I tried calling again, voicemail. I tried her sisters. Blocked, one by one. They'd shut me out across the board. I didn't want a scene on my front yard. I sat in my car staring at the steering wheel, until the shaking stopped. Then I called my lawyer. I didn't have the right words at first. I told him everything. He said, "Get a hotel and keep your calm. We'll sort this in the morning." So I did. A modest place. I didn't even unpack. I stared at a textured ceiling through the whole night and did the math on 10 years of my life. By sunrise, I was done waiting for apologies. If they could throw me out of my house that easily, I wasn't respected as a husband, a provider, or a human being. No more being taken for granted. On my phone, I started pulling levers. First, I changed every login on every account. Then, I canceled each shared credit card. I wasn't going to bankroll their comfort anymore. Anything financially tied to Amber, I cut. Later that morning, I met my lawyer in person. He brought in 2 more, a divorce specialist and a real estate attorney. It felt serious because it was. The title was in my name, and they told me I could file to remove Amber's sisters. They had no lease, no legal standing unauthorized occupants. We prepped paperwork immediately. There was debate on the best route, formal eviction timeline, or swift removal under laws that treat non-tenants as trespassers. But because family was involved, we planned it carefully. I also asked for a temporary order, granting me exclusive use of the house during the divorce. The judge denied it. No evidence of danger or abuse, so Amber had equal right to remain while it unfolded. That one hurt. I just wanted space back. The law isn't feelings. I had to play the long game. They locked the doors. I locked my focus. I wasn't backing down. When the divorce began, I wasn't interested in shouting. I didn't need to perform pain. The paperwork spoke. Pay stubs, bank statements, mortgage history, every page showing who held that roof up. It became clear quickly the house would remain mine. That's when Amber changed tone. Cold turned cordial. Pet names reappeared. She asked how I was, offered to cook, tried to start the same soft conversations that hadn't existed for years. It was awkward watching someone flip a switch and act like you didn't see the wires. I didn't buy in. I had done my reflecting the night I slept on a hotel mattress and stared at a ceiling that didn't know my name. No soft word could erase being locked out while my shave kit sat in a box on the porch. The marriage ended soon after. The judge ruled. The house stayed with me. Contributions were in black and white, and there wasn't a way around ink. After it closed, the house felt wrong. Too big. Too full of memories that didn't fit. I listed it and let it go a few months later. With the proceeds, I rented a smaller place that fit just one person well. Amber got a settlement. The court made sure of it, and I didn't fight what was due. Within months, the money was gone. Maybe planning, maybe lifestyle, maybe she thought it would stretch farther than numbers do. A mutual acquaintance mentioned it. I didn't ask. That wasn't my lane anymore. I had reflected, just like she said, and I had moved on. Almost a year after the decree, my phone lit with a message from Amber. She wanted to talk. I hesitated, not out of anger, but because there wasn't much left to say. Curiosity won. I called. She didn't circle. She said she'd gotten a job after everything collapsed, but it barely covered rent and food. She wasn't asking for money, not outright, but the weight in her voice said enough. For the first time, she was standing in the spot I had lived in for years. "Now you understand," I said. She'd never respected what it costs to hold a home together. Knowing she wasn't calling for anything that would change my life, I ended the call. I'm no longer stuck in a house where my value is measured in bills paid. Thank you for watching.